All right, so we're back between two ferns for another episode, another installment of our founder stories and finance journeys with Sean from Adaptolatte. Hi, Sean.
It's great to be here. How are you?
Very good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, very good, very good.
Good stuff. So maybe just kick off, you could share a bit about who you are and your brand.
Yeah, so I'm Sean. I've been in the e-commerce space, mainly in health and wellness for just under 10 years now. Started at THG, where I launched a Japanese website for my protein, had some great success there. Then from there worked at a company called NatureCan, which was actually founded by the same CEO of my protein. The role was to launch and scale the Japanese market for NatureCan, which is a CBD and health and wellness company. Yeah. And then after a few years there, decided that it would be great to start something with myself and my wife and my brother as well. So here we are. It's been a good journey, but lots of learning and great to work with partners like yourself as well.
Thank you. Yeah, no, really excited to share your story because it's a really good one. And I love working with you and supporting the journey you're on. And we'll get into some of the details of that. But it might be good just to share a bit about Adaptolatte, what the business is, the product, and maybe how you got started and what the vision for the business was.
Yeah, so we are a mushroom coffee company. We have 3 products now, but we initially started with just the original product. We thought, we saw brands like AG1 scale to the heights that they've scaled with one SKU. So that was sort of our, we saw that as a benchmark of success of a product that could really scale as a one SKU brand, high AOV, high margin, but also with the subscription model as well. Where the idea came about is Sophie, my wife, and I went on a road trip around the west coast of the US. We went around Oregon, California a few years ago. And we were just amazed at the popularity of these functional mushrooms. And it's these ingredients that I'd never heard of too much before. So lion's mane, cordyceps. I've always been in health and wellness industry, but also always looking at ways to optimize my own health and that sort of thing. So when we saw mushroom coffee was so popular in the US, we gave it a go. Really liked how the effects that it was having on our bodies, but also the cognitive performance benefits and those sorts of things as well. So from there basically we came home and thought, could this be a product that might fit a different market other than the US? We saw some brands growing and sort of just starting up in the UK. My background has been in the Japanese market, so we thought it was a product that could resonate nicely with the Japanese audience. With a lot of the functional mushrooms, a lot of them have been around for hundreds of years in terms of Chinese medicine. And that's something my mum has always been passionate about as well. And I've sort of grown up with using those as ailments. And so, especially in Japan, there's people who are really into that, health and wellness and in terms of, Chinese medicine. And we thought that if we could package this up as a all-in-one blend, it could resonate nicely. And that's, thankfully been the case.
Definitely, yeah. No, it's there's so many exciting things about your business, and I think everything from some of the efficiencies that you talked about, from having a limited number of product SKUs and being able to replicate some of, let's say, the successes of other companies, whether that's AG1 or others, and some of the things that you've probably experienced at NatureCan and THG. Is there anything in particular in terms of more just how you thought about structuring the business that you've taken out of maybe past experiences when you started, or is it just something you've figured out on the way?
Yeah, so we knew that the repeat revenue model was key. I think generally across the last 10 years, marketing costs have continued to go up every year. So we knew that to acquire customers at the rate we wanted to, we needed the lifetime value to support that. So yeah, making sure we were incentivizing subscriptions as much as possible. So initially, we were doing that through gifting. So not we didn't want a discount, which is what we did previously quite a lot. Both NatureCan and My Protein. What we wanted to do was offer value to the customer without giving a discount, basically. So we would offer a free mug or free stainless steel milk frother, which are very complementary to the experience of drinking Adaptolatte as well. So by doing that, we were able to get like a large percentage of sales to come through subscription. And actually, because when we were coming up with the product as well, we wanted to make sure it was 30 servings so that people could have it every single day as part of their routine. So it was quite an easy sell in that sense. And actually, we get a lot of reviews now where people are saying, thank goodness it's a subscription because it comes every month. I don't have to think about it, and I can easily have it as part of my routine. So it's not something I've run out. It's people are constantly getting their everyday dose of their mushroom coffee. So yeah.
And there's some, I think, also really interesting dynamics to how you started the business. One, as you mentioned, actually selling in the Japanese market and having a huge percentage of early sales in the Japanese market. And you did register in the UK, right? So you're a UK business, but essentially targeting another market. Whereas a lot of the businesses look to enter the UK first and then expand. You're actually identifying maybe an opportunity elsewhere that you knew, a market you knew quite well, obviously. So that's super interesting. The other thing which I thought was great when we first spoke actually was how you started the business and started to leverage credit, I think, in terms of inventory purchasing, and had really quite healthy cash flow dynamics. So maybe just you can share a bit about the journey of starting on credit cards and what that was like, and then maybe where you've got to on the back of that, and maybe we can talk about the kind of how you're thinking about funding the business going forward.
Yeah, of course. So we've been totally bootstrapped the entire way. That's something that was quite important to us to be profitable pretty much from the start. We knew that cash flow was going to be a challenge. They say it's like the biggest killer of startups is cash flow and being able to manage that. So we didn't have the sales behind us to get a revenue-based finance option or anything like that. But what we realized that what we could do at the beginning anyway was if we could use a credit card and sort of leverage its 56-day interest-free period, then by the time we'd liquidated that stock, it would have covered, we would have covered the amount from a cash flow perspective. So that worked really well up until a certain point, which you're probably going to mention. Amex basically slashed our credit limit overnight. We had been spending more and more due to our growth. So we're investing more into stock, more into marketing, and without borrowing any in terms of debt or raising money through investors or anything like that. So yeah, it's been going well for a year, and then one day just got on one Facebook ad went down because the payment didn't go through. Got a email from Amex saying our credit limit had been slashed by 80%. And so suddenly we were in this situation where we had not much money to put into marketing, stock, and it was a bit of a disaster at the time, but we got through it.
Yeah, and just kind of for context, you got to, was it roughly around $1 million run rate just on that basis alone?
Yes.
And I think that's one super impressive. So yeah, congratulations on that. But even just thinking about, having this like 56-day, let's say, like credit where you could actually order inventory, receive products, sell products, and get paid before you actually have to, essentially pay back the credit card is an amazing way to start. So anyone listening, if you can kind of start on that basis, you're doing pretty well. And yeah, I think like where most businesses early on would maybe have very, very different, whether it's production lead times and cash flow dynamics, you had like a really healthy one, like super early.
Yeah, I think the learning is just try and optimize for cash flow as much as possible.
Yeah.
So not only were we doing the thing on an app, and we were also making sure that, because we knew starting the starting balance would start on the 14th of a month, and then from the 14th we'd have 56 days to pay it off. So it was the 8th of the 2 months later we'd pay off after we put the money down. So we were making sure all stock deposits were going down on the 14th to really maximize that period. But not only that, speaking to the supplier to make sure that we had favorable terms as well, paying on deposit, and we were able to strike up a deal whereby we were able to order more inventory at a lower cost per unit, and they would allow us to take a certain percentage of that stock. So for example, if we ordered 10,000 units, you'd pay a certain, like 30% for deposit. And then when we needed 5,000 units, we'd pay the remaining 70%, ship that over to Japan. They would keep the other 5,000 units in storage. And by being a bit more, by having that open dialogue with the supplier, we were able to grow that way as well. And, they've obviously had the benefits of us placing
More
orders
products,
with them as well. So
Amazing.
It's been a good synergistical relationship.
Amazing, super smart. And obviously, I imagine Amex slashing, their credit terms, whatever, by 80%, probably made you think about how to fund the business going forwards. I know you've had a ton of conversations with investors and ton of interest from investors in your business, and explored various types of other funding as well. So it might be good just to dip into how you're thinking about that today. And I think a lot of founders face the same kind of decisions that you have to face in terms of what's the right path for your business. Do you go out and raise equity and bring investors on board and follow a certain path, or do you let's say leverage debt and credit finance quite creatively, but different types of debt and credit finance, and that can take you quite far. And there's also a personal preference to all of this stuff in terms of who you want involved in your business, how you want to run your business. So we'd love to maybe just expand on that. Yeah,
it's been an interesting journey these last few months since the Amex debacle. But so as soon as our credit limit got slashed with the Amex, we knew that we had to raise some sort of money, and immediately we thought, okay, let's try and raise equity, try and find some investors. We spoke on the phone, and you kindly introduced us to a few people as well. So we were in Thailand at the time, and the hours are so conflicting with where UK investors are. So we were up late every night on calls, that sort of thing. And actually, it becomes quite a nice period of you're having to create a deck, so quickly, but you reflect on a business in a way that, or you reflect on your own business in a way that you wouldn't usually, because everything's so, you're looking forward, but actually by doing that process, you can look back on what's worked well, what we can do in the future, and lay out, for example, a 3-year roadmap of in terms of forecasting that we wouldn't have done previously. So in that way, it helps. What we ended up doing was we started looking at other options, not just raising money through equity. You introduced us to Juice, which were a revolving credit facility. We also looked at other funding solutions, revenue-based finance solutions like Wayflyer. You
probably get an email from Shopify occasionally as well saying, would you like some money? Yeah. Some of that.
Yeah, every week. Yeah. And it's just there on the dashboard on the homepage, so you can't miss that. But yeah, so in the end, we managed to raise a good amount of debt with pretty good rates as well. So that's been key for us recently to fund our growth.
Yeah, and I think just from our conversations, we know there's often a bit of confusion around debt, and some customers had terrible experiences taking revenue-based finance in particular. And I think where it's been damaging is where it's offered to businesses, obviously, companies like Shopify and PayPal and even others are offering money and withholding a percentage of sales. And if you don't have like really good underlying unit economics, and if, let's say, that debt is covering up gaps in profitability or working capital efficiency, it can be really hard because if they're holding a percentage of sales, you actually kind of, you can get into these kind of like very, very damaging cash flow cycles and debt cycles. So now I think the way that you guys are approaching it and thinking about it more to fund growth and probably the increase in inventory requirement is probably really smart. And just curious what that experience was like from more of a like, looking at different options, maybe going through applications. Was it easy? Was it painful? Like,
We knew that, having spoken to people like yourself, that the percentage of daily sales model wasn't for us. And so we were more looking at a way of getting money into our bank with a view of either in weekly installments, paying that off over a course of, let's say, 4 months. Because we knew that if we put money on stock now, within 4 months, we would have liquidated that.
Yeah.
So to get ahead of the cash flow in that sense. So we didn't want to tie ourselves into, sometimes it's 6-8 months of being offered, where we knew that, then you're paying interest weekly for 4 months that we don't need that. We don't need to pay those extra charges for.
Yeah.
So that was one thing where it's just analyzing deeply how much money do you need over what period of time.
Yeah.
That
was in the Triffin cash flow forecast, was it?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
That's good.
And having the guidance from your team as well. Daisy, give her a shout out.
That's always good to hear. So I think you've got into a really, really good place in terms of that side of things, and quite curious how you're thinking about almost like the long term like path. Is it a case of as you grow, just increasing, let's say, the amount of debt you use, or is it more a case of no, at some point we'll think about fundraising, or just kind of see how things go?
I think it's the latter. See how things go.
Yeah.
Things are going well at the moment with raising debt, whether it's monthly or every other month. It's not been prohibitive at all in terms of for our growth.
Yeah.
So I think we'll continue to do that, whether it's doing that in tandem with doing a fundraise. Who knows what will happen in the future?
Yeah. One of the things that I really love about your business and you guys is that you run it, in a very agile way. And you've mentioned, that you spent some time in Thailand, and you kind of you've been traveling a little bit, and you kind of I think have an incredible lifestyle. I'm very jealous about how you actually live your life and run your business at the same time. Do you want to maybe share a little bit about about that side? I think it's super interesting.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think when we realised that there was nothing tying us down to London, and we'd been living, and by the way, it's Sophie and I, we'd been living in London for over 7 years, I think, and I'm from London as well. So we had a deep desire to travel the world, but also at the same time knew that it could be productive, seeing different environments, cultures, lifestyles, whilst working for us. Yeah, I think it's something that we really wanted to do. So since September, we've been mainly around Asia, but Australia, Japan, of course, visiting our fulfillment center there and meeting our influencers. It's been a really great experience, and we're back in London for the next 2 months. But
it's nice to hang out a bit while you're back as well. And I think, if I was just going to summarize you guys, you're almost for me like the epitome of this very modern, agile business that can stay lean, can be profitable, can grow quickly. Huge potential, but also then just how you live your life and run your business, I think is super inspiring. So just to wrap up, what are you most excited about for the future of Adaptolatte? And thinking far ahead, what do you want the business to be?
Yeah, we are investing a lot into NPD at the moment. So we, like I said, we came a certain way with one product, then we launched a decaf version, which complemented the customer's needs really well. So the original with caffeine during the day, and then have a decaf blend to help sleep, that sort of thing. We released a matcha 2 months ago, which has gone down really well. And what we've just seen every time we release new products is, although it might do nothing for our customer acquisition, it really helps our lifetime value. And so we want to get into a cadence where we're releasing more and more new products. So we've got different flavors along the way, and we like trial packs as well, so sachets. And then in the long future, our aim is to get into retail in Japan and continue to grow the business that way. So lots on the horizon, lots of exciting things to look forward to.
Amazing. Thanks for joining us, Sean. Good to chat as always.
Thanks, Frank. Appreciate it.